We back, Red Devils Talk, me your host Session, and we have lost to Dortmund. Another loss in the preseason tour, a sad way to end off the preseason in America, but preseason results don't really matter. It is the performance, match fitness, match sharpness, patterns of play, etc. We'll speak about that in detail. Also, a bit of Amrabat news, if I want to put it that way, and just a bit on Hoyland that we can speak about. And what I mainly want to speak about in today's video is Mason Greenwood. And there has been a significant update on Mason Greenwood and his future at Manchester United. So before we get into it, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, hit the notification bell, please and thank you. So 3-2 to Dortmund. And if you watch the game, I think we had a decent performance until we gave away the two goals at the end of the first half. And those were individual errors. But from the first minute until the 43rd minute, we had good possession. We played well, had decent patterns of play. We pressed well. And here and there, we had a bit of a defensive lapse. Mainly the one that is being spoken about everywhere, with Onana rushing from his goal to scream at Maguire. That's the way it's supposed to be. For those who think that that was wrong, I have a huge surprise for you. Peter Schmeichel was one of the best at berating his defense, screaming at them to let them know exactly what they need to do and where they have fallen short. That's normal, and I'm glad to see that we have a keeper that is vocal, that commands his area, that demands so much from his defenders that he knows for a fact that that will definitely be a benefit to the team. I loved it. I couldn't be more happy that a keeper that we have, Onana, is going to do that to the defenders, because it will definitely give the defenders confidence because he commands his box. So that was normal and it should be happening, guys. Players are supposed to question each other. Players who want to achieve the best and who want to be at the top definitely can go scream at each other, question him, definitely try and improve and motivate. We must see this. If you don't question your teammate, how can you become better? How can you actually try and be a successful team if you don't push and question your teammates to be better, to do better, to not make the same mistakes twice, three times? So that was a good moment. Further on, Omari Forson got taken off after the 30th minute, and a teaching moment by Erik ten Hag. Basically, trying to coach him, telling him not to lose his temper, control his emotions and not be so selfish. Now, of course, he wants to impress ten Hag, to be part of the team and that, but he needs to also understand that it is a team game. And being 19, he has got a lot to learn, a lot to improve. So it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back from that and if he actually does become a name in the first team that we can look to and say, you know what, similar trajectory that he had to Garnacho, etc. I feel that, in my opinion, from the first minute to the 43rd minute, even though we had Maguire on the field, McTominay, etc., we played decent football. I think Ten Hag himself was quite impressed with the way we played in that first 43 minutes. And then, of course, as I said, those two individual errors that cost us, because it kind of shows that that defense of Brandon Williams, who, in my opinion, again, might not get that much game time this season, Lindelof, Maguire, and Delo, Tom Heaton in the goal, did well, apart from, the two goals that he conceded. I think that wasn't a very good defense. I don't think we expected that defense to be super strong, super stable, super solid. It's just a matter of them getting game time, and ensuring that they do what the coach has asked. Now, when Ten Hag made the changes in the second half at the 60th minute, that last 30 minutes, putrid, absolutely crap. Ten Hag himself called out the bigger players and said that they ended as 11 individuals. They didn't listen to instruction. They didn't press well. They didn't run into space. They didn't play the ball the way Ten Hag has his patterns of play. And they certainly didn't defend the way they should be defending. Varane wasn't playing. Johnny Evans was alongside Martinez. And of course, we had Wan-Bissaka at the back and Luke Shaw, Casemiro, midfield, Bruno, Mount, Rashford, Anthony, Sancho. You would have thought that we can go on to win the game. But it just wasn't there. And that, as Ten Hag said himself, is unforgivable. I mean, he himself said he takes every preseason game as a serious game because he wants to improve the team and play at a higher level and improve the levels. But how can he do that when literally the team doesn't listen to instruction? So, by right, he was angry. Pelistri, in my opinion, in the entire game, for me, was the man of the match. Very electric, beating his man, running into space, popping with 1-2s, beating players to find another teammate, So I think Pelistri is a player that we have to look out for. I think he knows that he has to work hard to be part of the team. And I think having him as a player coming off from the bench, throughout the season can be a benefit with his energy, his willingness to run, his willingness to attack, to press, to be a player to press from the front. Definitely can be a huge asset. And he has fantastic dribbling skills. The amount of times that he just runs past 2-3 players is insane to see, but also refreshing because that is what Ten Hag wants from his wingers. To beat this man, create space, and be a option and allow for better ball play. So the game all in all, I mean, a wonderful goal by Delo, and Anthony basically just ensuring that the ball goes back into the net after Dortmund didn't clear their lines. I think overall, the game itself, first half, quite good until those 2 goals. And in the second half, we fell off and we didn't really look like we were going to go and win the game. So Ten Hag has a lot to deal with, but our next game is going to be at Old Trafford, and I'm sure that is going to be a much more better prospect. A bit of more emphasis will be placed on, winning, but winning well. So we move on to the next one. And I want to speak a bit about Sofian Amrabat, who publicly we know, Fabrizio, Alfredo Bedula, David Ornstein, etc. have all said that he is the next target that we are going to get. But it depends on sales. Fred, McTominay, Maguire, these are players, Eric Bailly, etc., that are still on their way out, Donny van de Beek. So once one of the midfielders leave, or one of these players leave, then we can probably look to attack Sofian Amrabat and get him from Fiorentina. We know Ten Hag wants him. We know he is the, shall I say, number 1 midfield target that he is looking to get. And if we looking to sign another player after that, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see if we're looking at another centre-back should Maguire leave. So lots to look forward to with the transfer window. And we saw, if we could have Amrabat in yesterday's game with, shall I say, McTominay, perhaps we would have, played better and been a bit better defensively. But nevertheless, we cannot speak about players that are still involved with other clubs, but we know Ten Hag wants Amrabat. And we know that Amrabat is keen to come to United and reunite with Erik Ten Hag. So let's keep an eye out on that one. Now, a bit of a touchy subject, Mason Greenwood. And we know why he was out of the team. We know why he wasn't playing for Manchester United and why, there has been a, shall I say, distaste in the mouth with regards to him as a person. As a footballer, you cannot question his ability. You cannot question his talent. That was there and everybody knew and saw that and had high hopes for him, me, myself included. But after the incident that happened, you seem to have to look at your morals. You have to look at the way you were raised and try to understand that it was wrong. Now, publicly charges were dropped and, he's got a child on the way and he's back with, his partner. And that's all good and well. But you cannot forget what happened. You cannot forget what he done, what was said, the images, that went viral. You cannot forget this. And the news that came out was said that within the next 2 weeks, before the game against Wolves on the 14th of August, we will have a decision made by United on Mason Greenwood, whether it is to let him go out on loan, sell him, or let him play for Manchester United. this season. I'm already taking a deep breath when I say that because it's an uncomfortable feeling to think about him putting on the United jersey, knowing what he did and what happened. And of course, there are people who will say that they want to see him play again for Manchester United. They want to forget about it. They want to move on. It's something that happened and we have to move forward. But there are people like me in the world that don't want to see him play for Manchester United again. And I'm not afraid to say that. I think, as a human being, you need to be able to have your own morals and people need to respect your morals. And as I said, some people will want him back, some won't. And I fall part of those that do not want him back, mainly because of my moral standpoint. And that is nothing for anyone to be angry about, to anyone to abuse me about it. It's just the way I feel, my morals, my integrity, and my values. And should he play for us again, I will have to deal with that then. It's something that is out of my control. Obviously, I'm only a fan that loves to speak about Manchester United and is passionate about the club. But whatever decision is made, we have to respect it and we have to accept it. Whether it's uncomfortable for some fans, but there will be a backlash should he put on the jersey. Should he be said to come back to United, there will be a backlash from the people, from the fans, from the media that do not want him to succeed, one, and two, play for Manchester United again. So it is a difficult situation. It is a touch and go, and we'll have to wait and see what happens on that. But I myself, I dread him putting on a United jersey again, and that's something that I'm going to have to deal with on a personal level. But we'll see what happens as time goes on because the decision will be made and announced before our first Premier League game against Wolves. It's a bit of a sour note to end on, but nevertheless, drop a like, hit subscribe, click that notification bell so that you know exactly when I upload videos. Till we speak again, the Red Devils,